Indonesia. And now, let's welcome
Muralitharan and Muralitharan make their entrance onto court. Really popular pair wherever they go, these two. Just the second meeting, in fact, between these two pairs. Lee and Lu beat Tan and Muralitharan in the round of 16 of the China Open last September, and that was in straight games, and it only took 40 minutes actually, so Tan and Tina have a bit of unfinished business. There it is on your screen.
I have black and red. What do you choose?
But only a couple of spots between them in the rankings.
Black is for you. It's black. You want the toss? Receive? Serve. Okay, who will serve? Pearly will serve. Who will receive? Lee will receive. Which side? That side.
I think maybe Lee and Lu have gone a little under the radar, Bobby. I mean, everyone talks about, you know, Lu and Tan, #1 pair in the world, but these two are both only, well, 23 and 22, Lee and Lu respectively, and they've had some very decent results over the last year or so.
Yeah, that meeting we saw on screen between them, their last meeting, the China Open, Lee and Lu went on to win that, and really impressive because they took out some pretty big names along the way, not just this Malaysian pair, but other teammates from China too, and Japanese opponents, I think it was.
Yeah, that's a huge event, Super 1000, of course. They won the German Open also last year. They got to 2 other finals. And this year, they've made the semi-finals at the India Open, at the Malaysia Open, and 3 quarter-finals as well. Hard to know, actually, who to make favourites here. Here's their record here so far this week, and, well, no issues, really.
Look at that quarter-final. That is no mean feat.
21-9 in the first game against Fukushima and Matsumoto. That's eye-catching. So their opponents, Tan and Tina, know the full extent of the task. There is Pearly Tan, the 25-year-old. They're ranked a couple of spots better than their opponents. 4 World Tour titles they've got. Biggest win was the French Open a few years ago. And they come here in pretty good form, having won the Thai Open only last month. Muralitharan is a couple of years older than her partner. They are the reigning Commonwealth Games champions. Might be that in perpetuity because there is no badminton at the next scaled-down Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, that's right. My favourite pair in women's doubles in the world to watch, Tan and Tina. And I'm sure I share that with a lot of people.
Mayasari and Ramadanti took them to 3 games in the second round. Other than that, it's been straightforward. They just missed out on a medal in Paris last year.
Ready to play.
Lost to Chen and Jia in the semi-finals, the Olympics.
First Malaysian women's doubles pair to get to semi-final of an Olympic Games as well, which really does make them absolute heroes in Malaysia. Something they've never done, Trevor, is make a Super 1000 final, which again, I said it earlier, I don't mind admitting, you know, our job is to be neutral, and of course we will be, but I'm allowed to say they're a great pair to watch, and they've got the chance today to do something they've never done.
Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Li Yijing and Luo Shumin, China. And on my left, Muralitharan and Tina Muralitharan, Malaysia. Muralitharan to serve to Li Yijing. Love all. Play.
Well, there's an early statement of intent.
Service
They
over.
always look to be aggressive, and they want to
Love.
put their dominance on this semi-final early.
It's a big forehand from the left-handed Liu Jumin. Oh, good save. Well, I was waiting for the outrageous from Muralitharan earlier in the rally. She looked like she had lots of time, and she's so skillful, so creative, very deceptive at the rear court. But it didn't come. They had to earn their way back into this, and they did that.
Service over. 2-all.
Yeah, a little apology to her partner there, as that was pretty comfortable for Tan. Won't see that all that often from Tina Muralitharan. She is, well, assuming she's not under huge amounts of pressure, she is one of the most, well, she's under more pressure there. She's one of the most consistent players in the world. She's like a rock, Tina the Rock. And usually that consistency allows for the creativity of Muralitharan.
It was long.
5-2.
Good lead as well, at that pace. This has been superb from the Chinese so far.
6-2.
Taking early initiative in the rally. Good pace of movement. Just got the impression, didn't you, from the very first point, they wanted to put a marker down. They wanted to basically say, you're not getting past us today. So far, they've given the Malaysians a lot to think about.
I think for the Malaysian sake, I hope they find a way to neutralise that threat of speed, movement speed, speed of shot, and grow in some confidence here and get back into the match, because, wow, that is good.
7-2.
Great variation, taking the pace off. A clean winner with the drop shot. The Malaysians have improved, you see, every sort of 3 months or so. They just get a little bit better. And now at 4 in the world, they've really earned that spot as well.
So, Rot stopped, but how much damage has already been done, even with only a few minutes gone here in this semi-final?
Bit of interception on the return of serve. Yeah, taps herself on the head because she was going to take the serve backhand, or forehand rather, and changed her mind. Had to take it backhand and made a bit of a mess. Ooh. It's a bit wild so far from the Malaysians.
Service over. 8-4.
Oh, great rally. They've been very good in the mid-court, the Chinese. Well, there's something special from Muralitharan. Smallest of double actions, she's so skillful.
Service over.
Taking the pace off and just laying it off to middle. Lovely. You said the Chinese are the younger pair, didn't you? I think that was right in the...
They are, yeah, 22 and 23 respectively, and Tan and Muralitharan 25 and 27.
Yu Ju-min must have had a pretty tough paper round, I think.
Well, they've asserted themselves very early on this match. They've only been playing for 6 minutes, and we're nearly at the interval.
10-5.
Short rallies. And the Chinese pair very much on top.
We were talking about it in the mixed doubles earlier when the French took on the Chinese, and it was much of the same. The Chinese pair are showing us how important it is to take an early lead in the rally. They're putting so much pressure on the first 2 or 3 shots that it's forcing that kind of thing, which is why the rallies are so short.
5-point lead then for Lu and Lee as they go for the mid-game break.
Play.
Sense the frustration from Muralitharan.
12-6.
Yeah, that wasn't that far away, but should have done better, really.
Just think that the Chinese pair have been in control of not all the rallies, but certainly the majority of them.
Yeah, you have to give credit to the Chinese here because their tactics is not to get into the long-winded rallies of of rear court lifts and clears with the smashes, turning it around, and the driving defence. I mean, we've seen a few women's doubles this week that have shown great examples of that kind of badminton. That's what Tan and Tina want. They want the long rallies. Their defence is great, and then Pearly Tan takes over with something clever, something skillful. She's not been given the chance today. The Chinese pair have taken so much initiative early in the rally and in the points that they simply haven't been given the opportunity.
12.
Liu giving away the initiative there. Could have held the net here. Didn't fancy taking Pearly Tan on. Paid the price for lifting it to Tina.
Well, they really worked the chance well, and then, with the court gaping, made a mess of it.
12.
Yeah, the Malaysians did well to start with. That was a gamble. Liu was there quite early, and the whole court was open on the left side. Tina would have struggled. Another missed chance.
And all of a sudden, the lead is reduced to just a couple of points now.
And one of the priorities here, I would imagine, for the Malaysians, irrespective of the scoreline in the first, even if they lose it, would be to try and tire out the Chinese pair. If they can drag this out, they may have a chance late in the match, because that quick, fast, powerful style the Chinese are trying to play with will get harder work when they get fatigued. I'm not sure if it was last year's Malaysia Open 24, or maybe it was the year before, 23, where Tan and Tina were in a semi-final, not against this pair, against Japanese, I think, where there were a number of rallies that were around the 200 mark. And it's hard to believe, looking at this match.
That was on the line. I don't think we've had one more than about 30, have we?
11.
Maybe even 20.
So they're pulled away again, Lee and Liu, after
11.
Tan and Tina threatened a bit of a comeback.
A contributing factor, of course, is the speed of this arena and the choice of shuttle speed in the mornings. It's obviously quite quick, hence the rallies are finishing. The aggressive shot gets through in the first instance, a weak reply and an easy finish.
18.
Just as that rally showed. Look at that, big smash. Follow up in the mid-court.
Unbelievably quick, this game. 29 points in only 14 minutes.
When you have slower environments like the Axiata Arena in Malaysia and KL, typically, that's why you get the longer rallies, because the shuttle can't get through the air as quick.
19,
Therefore, the smash isn't as good. The defence is more effective. And it all compiles.
Service over. 12-19.
Ends a run of 7 straight points for the Chinese pair. But they're still a mile behind, Tan and Tina. So that error brings up 8 game points for Li and Lu.
20 game point.
Curly Tan took a risk there, pushing the net, expecting the layoff, which came a bit too firm.
Minimum of fuss, really, inside a quarter of an hour.
First game
Li Yijing
over.
and Lu
Li
Xinmin
Yijing
take the opening
and
game
Lu Xinmin,
21-12.
21-12.
And from the very first point, they made a statement they were going to dominate, and that's exactly what they did. There was just one moment, or a few moments in that opening game when the Malaysians threatened to come back, but it was, well, it was stifled almost as soon as it began.
I was going to use the same word, dominant. They were dominant from the start. They came out firing. They've got a lot of emphasis on the early shots in the rally, and they just don't want to give the chance to the Malaysians to breathe here. They're just strangling the Rife out of the rally at the earliest opportunity, and it's a strategy that's clearly working.
Players on board. Second game. Love all. Play.
One of the reasons I've always really enjoyed watching Tan and Tina play is the fact that they play with such huge enjoyment of the game. It's written all over their faces normally, but there hasn't been an awful lot to enjoy about that opening game. I don't think I've seen them get beaten that way, well, possibly ever.
Yeah, not much to smile about at all from a Malaysian point of view so far. Beautiful little drop shot there. Magnificent.
Everything's going right for this Chinese pair. They've got the power, they've got the shots, the aggressive shots, getting them in a good position, and then to have the cool mind to play that little deception at the net as well. Look at Tan, her first instinct was backing off, thinking the shuttle was going to get driven at her. And then she left a big court to cover.
Well, she's still squatting. She stayed down a long time, actually. And she's back on her feet now, eventually.
It looked like she'd grazed her finger. She was sort of shaking it off.
Thank you.
Rexy Manakar on the right there, looking a little less animated than usual. even when the Malaysians are in the rally, a 50-50 rally.
3.
They haven't got the know-how somehow to keep it going and assert their game on the match.
On the board then.
Service over. 1-3.
Tried everything,
2, 3.
including the dive. Just couldn't react. Impossible to react any more quickly to get the follow-up.
Thank you.
It's a good shot actually, because Li Yijing had kind of nowhere to go with that really. Backtracking.
Yeah, very clever shot. Tina chipped the net to start with. And then when the shuttle came down with pace in the mid-court, she then went over the top.
Service over.
Prevented that sort of
4-3.
aggressive style of the Chinese. Found a way to neutralize it. Court coverage by Muralitharan. Oh, that's nice.
Finally, they forced the error from Liu. But every point that they've won in this match, almost without exception, Tan and Tima have had to really work for.
I was going to say, there's not been very many rallies where they've looked like they've dictated things. I think that went over.
It did. There was a kind of delay, there was a fist pump, and then there was a kind of half-hearted apology, which clearly wasn't meant. No one means it. You just want the point. I think they should stop doing it, because it's just a meaningless gesture.
Well, Tina, instead of returning the shuttle, has gone for a little chat with Muralitharan. They're still trying to unlock the... still trying to find the way to combat this really aggressive early mid-court style of the Chinese. That's the way. They've got to keep the shuttle in court, though. Tempt them into the first one, and then go over the top, find the gaps. If you can't control the shuttle, though, that job is going to get more and more difficult.
And I think Li and Liu have looked a really imposing presence right from the start of this match. At the net, from the back of the court, defensively, every aspect.
Yeah, they've got their game faces on, haven't they? That was a bit more effective from the Malaysian pair.
5-8.
Good return of serve. That was really good. No chance, no choice for Muralitharan but to lift that out.
9-5.
And a terrific finish.
Service over. 6-9.
Malaysians in a bit of a tangle, get away with it.
Well, they've just got to hang tough here,
9.
Tan and Tina. Because who knows if they can put some pressure on the Chinese pair, which they haven't managed to so far, really. The way this match is being played might change a little bit. Like the flicker. Yeah, much better.
Lo Xiumin made the wrong choice there. Pearly Tan was always going to rush that net. And should have realised the space would have been in the rear court. Credit to the Malaysians, fighting back.
Do well against that net cord to recover.
That was fabulous. Tina missed the shuttle and Tan had to pick up the pieces. This is the sort of rally the Malaysians always wanted to play, and they've made the most of it.
9-all.
Look at that. Tina Muralitharan just didn't quite get there, and Pearly Tan had to work so hard. This might be the turning of the tide.
Well, 4 points on the spin has put Malaysians on terms here. They were behind the whole way in the first game, and so far in this. So maybe just the odd bit of doubt now creeping into Lee and Lu's minds. See?
I would say definitely. If Tan and Tina can realise the task early enough, can just get themselves out of that instant pressure and get them into a longer rally, then I'd say they're back on level terms with the Chinese. But it's the first few shots. They need to get past it. Pearly Tan down again, recovers well. Oh! They're growing in confidence, aren't they?
Yeah, the rallies are getting longer, and that's not what Lee and Lu want.
That is a spectacular finish. Just from the fact that everything was going on and loads was going wrong. How did she miss that kill? Pearly Tan sat on her backside in the end, wins the point.
Players on court.
Just a complete mishit, wasn't it? Total miscue.
Shuttle. Okay.
Well, it's taken pretty much a game and a half. The Chinese were almost bullying the Malaysians off the court. And Tan and Tina have found a way to start fighting back.
So just a point in it then at the mid-game break, and this has become very competitive now.
手要快，不要在乎这一拍的质量，不要连快，当当当这样上去。而且抓球一直不过，老站那边球本来就快，等他过来以后，你再去抓，你一直慢，你最多
20 seconds. 20 seconds.
然后连贯要快，出手要快，挡网也是棒。
Coach, return to your chair. Players on court. Eleven, 10. Play.
Well, there's a momentum shift here.
For sure.
There's a sense of belief, finally, in the Malaysians, who almost seemed like a pair of rabbits in headlights in the opening game. Yes, Tina. Really good interception, cutting out that cross drive.
Well, all of a sudden, it's the Malaysians asking the questions.
Yeah, like you said, there's a sense of doubt in the Chinese that the tactics that they've been employing for a game and a half are suddenly no longer working. And credit to the Malaysian pair and coaches for understanding and realising what they need to do to get out of that pressure. Oh, he off the back line.
They rescued it, though, just.
Oh. Tan making moves, didn't quite get the shot she wanted. And that's where Tina, the rock, covers for her so well. Oh, she's barely moved, just stayed in that crouched position, Pearly Tan.
Fantastic rally, best of the match so far. Probably the longest, actually, too.
It's getting more and more enjoyable as well, this.
12-13.
I think she was right to play it. That was dropping inside the back line.
And as I said earlier, if they can just find that way and try now to tire out the Chinese, that fast, explosive style that they had will start to wane. Even if they just lose pace, lose speed by 10% or so, it will give a big advantage to the Malaysians if we get to a late on in the third.
Well, there's a judgmental error from Tan. Serve landed on the line, or just inside it.
It's quite a heavily strapped elbow of Liu Ximin.
Thank you.
Always good Malaysian support following Pearly and Muralitharan around. Gotta go over the top. They did it so well 5-10 minutes ago. Take the first one, almost just take it on the chest. You know, you've got to accept it's going to come. and then you've got to find space.
A third time of asking, she gets it through.
And they did really well. It's going to take a lot of hard work by the Malaysians to just get through that opening exchange every time. Once they do, and they can get themselves into a rally, they've got a chance. Nice shot. Oi! Good reaction from Tan, instinctive. And the fist pump following that great net shot.
Change. 15-14.
Look at that, the coolness to find the space.
Just get the sense now that the Chinese are almost hanging in there in almost every rally. They're winning the odd point, but Tan and Tina are suddenly looking dominant in these exchanges, and they're forcing the Chinese pair much more on the defensive now.
Yeah, I think they've got a game plan, the Chinese, and they've got one game plan, and that is get on top early, control the mid-court and get the attack down, and that's it. Once that doesn't happen, once the Malaysians find a way through that, it doesn't seem like the Chinese have a plan B. Yes, well played from Tina. Oh, look at that, magical.
They're judging the better pair by a mile now, to be honest.
17-14.
For when the Malaysians can start choosing their shots, they become a huge threat. Muralitharan having to work so hard, it was too much to ask in the end.
Set is over. 15-17. Okay, wipe the court, stay on court. Okay, just quick towel. No drink.
I'd say the momentum, Trevor, is with the Malaysian pair at the moment.
Definitely, absolutely, definitely.
I know they're a game behind, but they're looking good here. And if it
you.
goes to 3, I make them favourites again.
No Xiumin, no
Yeah,
drink.
I completely
Towel on
concur
me.
with that. It's been such a sudden turnaround. First game and a half, it was almost non-stop aggression from Lee and Liu. Now they seem to be like clinging on almost every rally. And that's not going to do their cause any good either.
Well, I think the big smile from Pearly Tan is simply that they've got 3 points. 3 points to go. 3 points ahead. And the way it's been going, you can't see them missing the chance to close out this second game. Instinctive reactions in the mid-court from Pearly Tan. Oh, had to pirouette.
Well, full credit there to Liu for keeping the Chinese pair involved in that rally. Still should have made it. Count the Malaysians. That was a bad miss in the end from Muralitharan.
Well, a bad miss because Pearly Tan made a very slight movement that she was going to intercept the shot or try to. And therefore, Muralitharan was just a bit late to react. But yes, the Chinese defence did well for so long. It stayed in. There's a challenge, but it stayed in. Sat right on that line.
I'm pretty sure this is called the line, at least some piece of the...
I think this is plumb, middle of the line. That left to right drift is still there as well. It's off the racket, it looked like it might have gone wide. The instinct as a player is you know if it's going to go out or in. I think this just held up and stayed in.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining.
So just a couple of points away.
Service
Forcing a
over.
decider seems
19,
almost inevitable to me
16.
now. They just look like they're going to win almost every point. I think some desperate defence from the Chinese pair. Won them the point before the last. That's a lovely shot, though. That's a super deceptive shot.
Yeah, that's straight out of the Pearly Tan playbook.
17, 19.
Can't remember them playing very many of these, to be honest, the Chinese pair. Maybe that was why it was so effective. We just weren't expecting it.
Yeah, there were one, maybe two in the opening game, but they were so buoyed and so far ahead they could afford to take the chance. But now look at this.
So 3 game points to level.
20, game point, 17.
Well, they're just trying to... Oh!
It's snuck over, and level they are, 21-17.
Second game won by Muralitharan.
Total turnaround here. 1 game all
17.
decided to come.
1 game all.
What a final point. Tan with the creativity, that flair that she has. Got a bit of luck in the end. But credit to her for having to work so hard, creating her own luck.
现在这个节奏不快，要精力谁精力少，谁要慢一点，谁就啊，失误很正常，但是不要连续失误，把比分卡住啊，落后也是要耐心啊，你也是不要敢抓了不得去啊，不要碰，碰完就不要碰完他没有碰那能打，要不然就是打，要不然打完挑走，就是打完，要不然就打完以后进攻，要节奏啊，不要乱说，过程重要，还有
20 seconds. 20 seconds. Players back on court. Final game. Love all. Play.
So can Tan and Tina carry on that dominant style we saw in that towards the end of the second game? It just looked like they were going to win every point. Obviously change ends after the interval here. That's a good start.
love.
It's a great forehand block from Muralitharan to turn that around.
2 love.
I didn't quite see the one before, but got to be careful going at the body of Muralitharan. Her racket skills are so good. She comes up with shots out of the blue you're just not expecting. Can't find a way through.
Good lead. And that's a bit of a soul-destroying point for Lee and Lou.
Yeah, I was about to say as well, it must be demoralising. They were on the attack for so long, and big credit to Tina in particular.
Yeah, dealt with absolutely everything that Chinese pair threw at her.
Change. 4 love.
Well, once again, the Chinese had no answer. Previous point was Muralitharan defending, and that was her attacking best. Muralitharan joins the party.
5 love. Love.
Well, I expect them to be on top in the decider, but I expect this scoreline.
Well, coming through that second game gives them such a refreshed confidence. They feel like not only can they win some points, but they seem to be defending so much better than they were at the start.
Thank you.
Went over to the coach there, Lee Jing, and he just kind of shrugged. I don't think he gave them much. Not sure what you say when you're 7-love down. So they're off the dreaded bagel.
Over. 1-8.
I've just found a statistic which I'm finding it hard to believe. According to a website, of the 109 matches that Tan and Tina have played on the World Tour, they've been taken to 32 times. And it says they've won all 32 of those. That surely can't be right.
Well, if it's true, it's an unbelievable stat.
Service over. 9, 10. Li Jing, back on court.
I've got my ace statistician on the case.
I mean, whether it's true or not, they've certainly got a heavy advantage here. That is a lovely touch.
10-2.
Look at that. That's what Tan's known for. That's what makes her so watchable. Comes out with shots that you just don't expect. Oh!
Another beauty, and look at that scoreline. 11-2 at the mid-game break. This looks all but over.
What a shot from Tina Muralitharan. You just look at the confidence, the team spirit. Spirits are flying high in the Malaysian camp right now.
No sweat throwing.
The high fives. You contrast that to the deep discussions the Chinese seem to have been having.
My statistician has found some defeats for the Malaysians in 3 game matches, but not that many of them. So they obviously have a very good record, but they have lost in 3.
Well, they're certainly on top of this one. And let's not forget, Tan and Tina have never made a Super 1000 final, and that is a massive opportunity today.
I don't think that's going to last much longer, that stat. This is the end where they were so dominant in the second game. And judging from that rally, nothing much is going to change.
Well, I'd argue the ends don't matter now. I mean, they just went 11-2 up or something on the other side. First half of this game. It's just one-way traffic, isn't it, Trevor? I mean, this is fabulous from the Malaysians.
And there is a distinct defeatist air about Li and Lu at the moment, and understandably.
Yeah, I'm watching them off camera now, and they're just sort of... The body language has gone, that intensity has dropped, and they're discussing everything.
Probably including what to do tomorrow, because I don't think they'll be here.
3-10.
What a shot from Muralitharan. Great defense from the Chinese.
She did well to see that, Lee. That's a good shot, but they're going to need a lot more of those if they're going to get back into this match.
Well, just before the interval, we saw one of these from Tina. That is skillful That had foresight. That's just brilliant. They need to stifle this. I think it's all about confidence, this game, and if the Chinese start to find a way back even if it's a few more points and get close, it will turn everything around.
6-13.
Well, they're back to where we started the game. When it was the first few shots, that intensity, that aggressive nature, they've just got to get past it. Get in a rally and they've got as much chance, and probably a lot more chance, than the Chinese.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that serve came back with interest. That was hit very, very hard. Rexy liked it, crowd liked it.
If I remember rightly, she's actually got the biggest smash in women's doubles, Muralitharan.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And to look at her, you wouldn't believe it. Well, she's obviously very athletic. She's not, she's a fairly slight figure.
But it's all timing, isn't it? You see it in tennis, in golf, in all kinds of sports. Not the...
In some of your jokes.
Yeah, not many.
Pirouette from Tan, even though she was off the shuttle. Well, you just fancy the Malaysians when you get into this type of rally, because they've shown us over the years they can defend all day. What a shame Muralitharan missed the chance.
I think she almost went too far across, actually. Ended up having to almost play back on herself. Let's have a look. Yeah.
Just off balance, wasn't she, as well? Yeah, leaning.
Thank you.
Well, that was the longest rally of the match. I can't believe that. I mean, it just goes to show how much emphasis the Chinese pair in particular were putting on an aggressive, short rally style, especially for a game and a half. It's a bad leave. Landed well in.
15.
Well, Malaysia's got to be a bit careful here. Just looks like they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit. And Chinese play with the encouragement. Remember, they were 8-love down on stage.
Yeah, and I was just watching the Malaysians off camera. Both of them geeing each other up. Come on, both started bouncing as if to say, come on, let's restart this game in their heads.
15.
But they must be starting to get a bit nervous.
Return the shuttle. I say return the shuttle. Yes. No, return the shuttle. Don't. Okay, return the shuttle.
That's quite clever from Muralitharan, just slowing the momentum of the match down, because the Chinese were on the comeback. Or still are, perhaps. previous rally,
Service over.
Curly Tan tried the exact same thing. Crouch defense, cutting out the mid-court drive. She popped it up nicely in the rally before, and it was finished by the Chinese. This time, kept that shuttle going down. It was all important. Yeah, that's much better from Tan.
They just can't afford to make these kind of mistakes now.
Well, in a way, it was a dose of the Chinese' own medicine. Tina getting in good position and just maintaining the attack, posing the question, what have you got? What can you do to get out of this pressure I'm going to put you under? Oh.
Well, the court, please.
Well, I don't think the Chinese pair noticed that Pearly Tan was completely floored
11,
on the left
17.
side of the court.
Check the court, Tina. Thank you. Eleven, 17.
Closing in now, surely.
Well, the fans are loving this.
11.
At least the Malaysian ones in the arena are. And it's a bit of a debate going on amongst the Chinese then of... I'm not sure the solidarity is still there. They sort of look to be blaming each other slightly. Wonderful shot from Muralitharan. How did that come back?
What a rally, and the mistake means they're just 2 points away from their first ever Super 1000 final. Brilliant defence from the Malaysians.
Here we see it. That
What
was
shot.
terrific, wasn't it? I can't believe this is the same match, Trevor. You watch back the opening game, and the Malaysians have no clue what to do.
Well, they do now. They've got 9 match points.
Match point. 11.
I'm so looking forward to the reaction of Tan and Tina when they win this and get into a Super 1000 final.
They're there now, are they? I thought that maybe landed on the surface of the court.
Game.
Yeah, it did. We're all over. 21-11. That is a fantastic come from behind win, and that's what it means to them. Outclassed in the first game. From then on in, it was a different match.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Lou and Lee just had no answer.
Yeah, halfway through this match, they just
Match won by
sat back and
Muralitharan
realised they need to get past that aggressive style at the beginning. As soon as they do that and get into a rally, they've got at least half a chance, and it turns out to have been a lot more than half. They were dominant from the second half of the second game and all the way through the third.
Well, what a fantastic semi-final. Tan and Tina win 12-21, 21-17, 21-11 in just an hour and 3 minutes in the end for 3 games. Well, we still have 5 more semi-finals to bring you. And next up will be the first men's singles final. Should be good too. CHN up against the new world number 1 Kunluvat Muralitharan. 2 o'clock coming in with Steen Pedersen. Don't go away.